Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Dear students, welcome to Inside Delhi. In this video, we are going to discuss GS Mains Prism Test Series program of the paper General Science. Okay, let's see what are the things that are there in this test paper. So, in this paper, we have total 10 questions, out of which 5 questions are of 10 markers and 5 questions are of 15 marker. So we know, right, approximately for 10 marker we need to write 150 words, and for 15 marker we need to write somewhere around 250 words, and this 150 words has to be written in approximate of 7 minutes, and this 250 words has to be written around 11 minutes. So if we take 5 questions into 7 minutes, so total 35 minutes will come here, and here the same 5 questions into 11, somewhere around 55 minutes. So altogether if we combine, it will come around 90 minutes, that is 1.5 hours. Okay, so please try to stick to this so that we can complete all the 20 questions when we write any full length test which consists of 20 questions. Is it clear? So let's start with our paper discussion with the first question. So let's read the first question. In the backdrop of heightened emphasis on hygiene and sanitation during the COVID-19 pandemic, explain the chemical mechanism. What they're asking, explain the chemical mechanism behind the cleaning action of soaps. Okay, so they're asking the cleaning mechanism, okay, whatever the mechanism that is there, okay, with respect to the soaps, and how does this process help in ensuring public health and preventing disease transmission. So how it is helping in preventing disease transmission and public health. So these are the subparts they have asked in the question, so we need to deal of both these. Okay, but we know, right, so first we will see how this COVID-19 is generally transmitted. Okay, so for example, any diseased person is there, okay, so when he coughs or talks, okay, whatever the droplets that are coming from his mouth, okay, so if their droplet size is less than 5 micrometers, okay, so it can travel for longer distance in the air, and when any other person is coming in contact, then they can get the disease. Okay, on the other hand, if the droplet size is more than 5 micrometer, then it won't travel for longer distance. Okay, so as a droplet infection they can get. Okay, so other things they can get through direct contact or through indirect contact. Generally we can get infected with this COVID-19, right? So everyone has went through this, we know all this, right? So but what they're asking in the question, the first one is chemical mechanism behind the cleaning action of soaps. Okay, so what is happening is, see, everyone, we realize the importance of especially sanitization and hygiene during the COVID-19 to prevent the spread of disease. Okay, so what it is doing is, these soaps, whatever that are there, they have a chemical mechanism which is helping in preventing. So we'll see how it is preventing this disease. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So what is a soap in general? So soaps are generally sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. Okay, and these soaps, whatever that are there, when these soaps are interacted or whenever water is added to these soaps, okay, these soap molecules, whatever that are there, right, so these soap molecules have a nature called as amphiphilic nature. Okay, so when water is added, this amphiphilic nature, that is nothing but, if you see, this is the structure of molecule. So this structure will have two ends. One is hydrophilic end, the second one is hydrophobic end. Hydrophobic end is nothing but it don't like water, and this is water attractive side. Okay, so when water is added, this hydrophobic nature, as it is not towards the water, right, so this side will go and attach to the oil or grease or dust or microorganisms, whatever that are there. Okay, and this side will go and attach to the water. So because of this one, see, these molecules will come together and they will bind whatever the grease, oil, dust, microorganisms, whatever that are there at the center, and surround this one. This will be forming like a spherical structure. This spherical structure is nothing but called as missile. Okay, so now if you see, the oil or grease or dust will be there here. So on this only generally microorganisms, everything will reside. Okay, so once this structure is formed, it will become very easy for rinsing it through water so that it will be washed away. Is it clear? So this is the proper chemical mechanism that is happening in a soap. Okay, so amphiphilic nature, that is hydrophobic, water repelling, and hydrophilic, that is water attractive side. And when water is added, then it will form a structure which is called as micelle, that is nothing but a spherical structure around any dust or grease or something. Okay, so now what is the other part of the question they have asked? How does this process helps in ensuring public health and preventing disease transmission? So we need to know how it is preventing disease transmission. For example, the COVID virus, whatever that is there, it is having a lipid envelope around it. Okay, so this lipid envelope, when it comes in contact with the soap, okay, this lipid envelope will be broken so that the coronavirus will be breakdown and will become inactive. Okay, so this soap will disrupt the function of this virus. So how it is disrupting means this, the structure which we have seen right earlier, this structure, this hydrophobic end, whatever that is there, it is going and interacting with the lipid envelope, whatever that is there in the virus. Okay, so you can read coronavirus has a lipid envelope which soaps can disrupt and make it inactive. So this is the easiest way, right? Okay, so already we means from the childhood we have heard the term that prevention is better than cure. Okay, so by just simply washing our hands we can prevent it, right? Why to go through all the unnecessary pain, okay, by getting the disease. Okay, so now we'll see public health goals. See, the promoting regular hand wash aligns with our normal public health goals under the initiatives such as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and National Health Mission. Okay, so why? Because see, it is one of the washing hands, okay, sanitization, okay, all these are we can do on personal levels. Okay, they are very cost effective. Okay, and also we can prevent the disease transmission also, and it is easily available method also, right? So no need to go to the hospitals or somewhere, right? We can buy the soap and we can do all these things so that we can help in reducing the transmission of the disease. Okay, so that's why it's just hand wash is not a normal thing. Okay, it looks like very simple thing, but it can help us in a much bigger way, and in this process we can prevent even any further pandemics which may come in the future. We can prevent this in transmission also. Is it clear? So we'll go to the next question. So unlike stars, planets do not appear to twinkle when observed from Earth. Explain the scientific reason. Okay, they're asking explain the scientific reason behind this phenomena and its relevance from the astronomical observations. So this is one part, this is another part, and they're asking why planets twinkle and why planets do not twinkle and why stars twinkle. Okay, this is what the question we need to address. See, for example, okay, we can't see this in the present day cities, but when we go to our hometowns and when we sleep on the terrace, okay, when we look in the sky, generally stars will twinkle. Okay, but planets generally which are seen during daytime, for example moon also, okay, a celestial body, okay, through which we can get the light, okay, so that will not twinkle. Okay, so the major difference is, see, both of them we are getting light from them. Okay, from star direct light is coming, from planets reflected light will come. Okay, so but light is coming, but even though light is coming from both the sources, but only stars will twinkle and planets will not twinkle. The major difference is because of this. What is that? The atmosphere, whatever that is present around the earth. Okay, we know, right? Around earth we have a gaseous envelope which is called as atmosphere, which is made of different layers. For example, we know troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere. Okay, all these layers are divided based on temperature and densities, right? So there is a temperature density variation within this atmospheric layers. So for example, from this picture if you see, when the star which is very close, okay, so it is traveling very less path here. Okay, so the chances of twinkle will be very less in this case. But if you see the star which is located at a very farther distance, it has to travel a longer distance in the atmosphere. When it is traveling for a longer distance within the Earth's atmosphere, then the chances of twinkling will be more. Okay, so the major reason why stars especially twinkle is, first one is they are located at very far distance. So because of their distance, okay, the source of light will look like a point source. What is that one? The source of light will look like a point source. And also we have seen just now the earth is made up of different layers which are having density and temperature variation. So when this point source light comes and travels through these layers, okay, any small turbulence within this layer will try to refract or bend this light. Okay, so once this point source is bent, okay, so we cannot see the light at that point of time. Okay, so these fluctuations will try to vary the intensity of light that is coming. So because of that we can have a twinkling phenomena of the stars. Okay, so let's see twinkling of stars. It is caused by the turbulent layers of Earth's atmosphere and the light whatever that is coming from the stars in the form of point source, and also the light whatever that is coming will be refracted because of the turbulence whatever that is there in the Earth's atmosphere, and this is the reason for twinkling. But why planets are not twinkling is, the major reason is, we know these planets are located very close to the Earth. When something is very close to the Earth, they will look a little bit bigger, right? So they are generally looking like a tiny disk sort of things, and as they are looking a little bit big, it is not a point source anymore. Okay, so the whatever the light that is coming from these celestial bodies, it will be not as a single source, and a kind of multiple light paths will come, and when they enter into the Earth's atmosphere, even though turbulence was there in the Earth's atmosphere, but as multiple sources of lights are coming from the same single object, so there will be averaging out of these distortions whatever that are coming, so that we can see a constant and steady light which is coming from these planets. Okay, so because of this one, these planets whatever that are there, we cannot see the twinkling phenomena with respect to the planets. Okay, so let's read this one. So planets appear as a tiny disk rather than the point source, and the light from these broader surfaces takes multiple atmospheric paths, and the distortions average out, leading to the steadier appearance. Okay, this is what we have discussed, right? So why this is very important? Okay, so for example, if you see relevance for astronomical observations, because see, when we see the stars, okay, when there is a twinkling phenomena, so we cannot observe the stars, and whatever the images we are taking from the telescopes, those images will not also be clear, right, because of the twinkling phenomena. But when we see the Earth like planets or any other planets whatever that are there in the universe, okay, as there is no twinkling, we can have a proper observation of these planets. Okay, so now what the astronomers will do is, they will try to do, okay, or adaptive optics. Okay, so these adaptive optics whatever that are there, these adaptive optics will try to minimize these distortions of the light whatever that are coming, so that they will try to take the clear pictures of the stars whatever that are there, so that we can have clear understanding. Is it clear? So let's read this one. So twinkling makes precise star observation difficult. Okay, so but Earth, it can make clear pictures as there is no twinkling. So astronomers often use adaptive optics, not just this adaptive optics, even see in these cities if you see, okay, there will be a light way which will obstruct us to see the stars during the night time, right? So if you go to the tall regions like mountains, high altitude regions, from there, as there is no disturbance of this light, we can clearly see the stars whatever that are there in the sky. Apart from that, wherever the regions that are having less turbulence in the atmosphere, in those regions also we can see the stars little bit clearly. Okay, so astronomers often use adaptive optics and observatories in high altitudes, low turbulence areas to minimize this atmospheric interference. Okay, so whenever we know something clear about our universe, we can have a better understanding of the universe and the formation of the universe, all these things, right? So this is what the main study of knowing the twinkling of stars phenomena. Is it clear? So let's go to the third question. In the context of rising concerns over electrical safety in urban infrastructure, explain the function of an earth wire. Okay, they're asking something of earth wire. Why is proper earthing essential for metallic appliances and overall household electrical safety? Okay, so they're asking something about earth wire, how it is functioning, all these things, and why it is needed also they are asking. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is the earth wire. Okay, generally they are connecting this one to the ground. Okay, so that whatever the excess current whatever that is there, okay, so that unintended excess current everything will be discharged directly into the ground, so that we will not get any shocks sort of thing. Okay, so let's see the definition. Earth wire are also called as grounding wire. So what it is doing is, it is providing a low resistance path electrical current. Okay, what it is doing, it is providing a low resistant path for electric current to safely dissipate into the ground in case of faults such as short circuits or insulation failures. Okay, whenever short circuits and insulation failures are there, during that time these earth wires will provide a low resistance path for electric current so that it will safely dissipate into the ground, so that we will not get any electric shock sort of thing. Okay, so need of proper earthing for metallic appliances and overall household electrical safety. Why it is needed? Okay, so if you see safety against the electric shocks. Okay, this is what I have discussed, right? But what is happening is, for example, any live wire is there. Live wire is nothing but when any current is passing through that, when any live wire comes in contact with any metallic appliances, okay, because of any wear and tear of that one or cutting of the wire, whatever the reason it might be, when it comes in contact, then this metallic appliance will be completely charged. Okay, so whenever it is completely charged and when we go and comes in contact with that one, so then we will get severe shock. Okay, but when earthing is done, okay, so whatever the excess charged thing, whatever that is there, that will be diverted towards the ground, so that the shock whatever we are going to get, it will not happen. Okay, so we can save from these electric shocks. Okay, next one is trip mechanism activation. Okay, so what is happening is, whatever the circuit breakers or fuses are there, right, so these electric or these whatever the wires are there, right, so they will try to, okay, detect, okay, and they will immediately cut off the power supply. Okay, that is nothing but these fuses or circuit breakers will try to cut off the current flow, so that anything that is there, it can be stopped, so that we will not get any shock sort of thing. So that is nothing but trip mechanism. Even in house also we know that MCBs will be there, right? Any power fluctuations are there, then the MCB will be off, so that once the power fluctuation is gone, then if you can on once again, so that the current will be there, right? So the same means they will try to cut off the power. Okay, so apart from that, appliance protection, so nothing but see there are some sensitive appliances will be there. A small fluctuation in the current can damage that appliance, right? So high voltage fluctuation, whatever that is there, they will try to get damaged. So in that case, whatever this wiring is there, okay, so that will help us to protect these appliances. Apart from that, fire prevention, so whenever earth wire is there, okay, it will try to reduce the heating of that one. So when it is excess heat is there, then it will try to make some sparks, okay, then fire etc will be there. So but when earthing is there, then it will try to prevent the fire also. Is it clear? So these are the needs why we need to do a proper earthing, okay, in the house, so that all these things can be protected and avoided, means damage can be avoided and all these things can be saved from us. Okay, so similarly we can see the regulatory framework and various electrical safety standards also mandated proper earthing to safeguard the life and property, obviously, right? So when in the recent times, okay, we can see a lot of electric short circuits are occurring in the industries or any big apartments, okay, commercial complexes, okay, which are leading to complete burning of that entire infrastructure. And also if people get stuck, they will also getting loss of life, right? So all these things can be avoided by simply going for this earthing and taking some proper measures, right, so that electrical hazards can be reduced in the country. Okay, so we'll go to the next question. In the light of recent advancements in acoustic technologies and their role in disaster response and medical imaging, so they're directly asking about the role in disaster response and medical imaging. Discuss two practical applications of the reflection of, directly they're asking the reflection of sound waves. How do such applications contribute to public service or safety? Okay, so first we'll see what is this acoustic technologies. Okay, so acoustic technologies are those technologies which encompasses the methods and devices, okay, so which can help in generating, transmission and receiving of these sound waves. Okay, ultimately sound waves whatever that are there, when they are reflected, okay, we can know something is there, right? So we'll see how they are working, but these are the methods, okay, or devices used to generate, transmit and receive sound waves. This is nothing but acoustic technology. But in the era of advancements, okay, recent advancements in this acoustic technology, these sound waves whatever that are there, these reflected sound waves are used for multiple purposes like healthcare system, especially we know, right, ultrasound, okay, so and also in the disaster relief measures also we are using these sound waves. And not just here, there are lots of applications, but as our question is 10 marker and we need to limit ourselves to 150 words, and they are particularly asking in the two areas of healthcare and disaster, so we'll see particularly those two aspects. Otherwise we can use for multiple purposes. Okay, for example, if you see applications that contribute to public service of safety, especially the medical ultrasound. Okay, so if you can see this device, whatever that is there, it is releasing the sound waves, high frequency sound waves, whatever that are released, okay, after obstructing with any organ, and they will come back, so that based on that we can get the images of those objects. So can you see here? So we can see the images here directly. So through this we can see, for example, whatever that are there, organs, how they are there, whether they are functioning properly or not, proper blood flow is there or not, or we can even see the fetal development properly it is there or not, right? So all these things we can see using this reflected high frequency sound waves, right, or ultras sound waves we can say. Okay, so and this is an non-invasive technique, right? Just we are sending the sound waves and we are not cutting anything and directly seeing, right? So from outside itself we are seeing. So it is a non-invasive technique, and using this one we can detect if any diseases are there. Early detection of diseases can be there, okay, so that it can reduce the burden on healthcare also, right? So these are some of the benefits of ultrasound, especially in the medical imaging. Not just this one. So high frequency ultrasound waves can also be used, okay, for the treatment of tumors, or even focused sound waves can be used to cut down the kidney stones, whatever that are there in the body. Okay, so for different therapies also they will use. So a lot of other applications are there with respect to healthcare system. So apart from that, applications that contribute to the public safety or service, especially this echolocation and sonar. Sonar is nothing but sound navigation and ranging. That is nothing but when these sound waves, whatever that are there, when they are released below the water, okay, so if you can see from here, when they are released from below the water, these sound waves will travel, and in the process assume that any ship is there, or we can say submarine is there, or any other object is there. So these waves will be once again reflected back, and they are received by this station, so that they can map the objects whatever that are there. Okay, so using this one, for example, we can map the ocean bottom features also, and apart from that, any sunken ships are there, we can map those things. Okay, any submarines, anything are there, we can detect those things and we can use for our safety purpose. Okay, not just this one, the same technology can be used for coastal management or coastal protection, we can say. Okay, navigation purpose we can use. Okay, so like that, different purpose we can use this sonar or echolocation technology. Okay, not just this one, even for example, whenever an earthquake occurs, okay, the building collapses, right? So below the rubble sometimes people can be get stuck, right? So using this sound waves, okay, we can detect the people who are there below that one, so that we can rescue these people from those. Okay, so like that, different applications are there. So these are some of the applications, right? So if you do more research on this one, okay, and the more and more the sophisticated technologies that are there, so those can be helpful for not just healthcare but also for disaster relief and rescue operations. Okay, so more research and these things has to be done on this arena also. So let's go to the next question. What is genetic engineering? Discuss its role and significance in improving agricultural practices and ensuring food security in India. So what they are asking, it is about genetic engineering, and discuss its role and significance in improving the agricultural practices. So genetic engineering connected with the agricultural practices and with respect to the food security in the country. So let's see what is the genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is nothing but, okay, before that we'll see what are there in this slide. So can you see this is the normal, okay, DNA, whatever that is there. In this DNA, what we are doing? We are doing simply modifying certain traits, or we can say we are modifying our DNA in such a way that we are going to get the desired traits what we want. Okay, so that technique is nothing but called as genetic engineering. Okay, so deliberate modification we will do so that we can get the desired output from this modification. So let's see the definition. Genetic engineering refers to deliberate modification of organisms' genetic material using biotechnology to achieve the desired traits, right? So deliberate modification and desired traits. So but how we are going to do this one? So it involves techniques like gene cloning, CRISPR-Cas9 we have seen. Okay, favorite topic of UPSC, many times they have asked about CRISPR-Cas9 and recombinant DNA technology. So we will use these are certain tools so that we can do the genetic engineering. Okay, so what are the things that are connected to the agriculture. Let's see genetic engineering's key role and significance in improving agriculture and food security. So how it is helping in agriculture and food security in the country? Let's see. It enhances crop resilience. See, we know, right, in the era of climate change, okay, which is evidently seen in the recent days, okay, because we don't know when the rain is coming, okay, and some regions are becoming very drought prone regions, okay. In that case, whatever the agriculture crops that are there, they have to be resistant either to heavy rains or no rains also, okay. So that in the era of climate change they are helping, means this genetic whatever the modification we are doing, our crops are becoming more resilience, okay. Apart from that, increasing in the productivity, okay. So this has been seen even during the green revolution time also, right. So where the productivity has been increased, because we know the population is keep on increasing. So to support the high increase in population, we need to increase the agriculture output, right, because we cannot increase the area of agriculture land, because agriculture land is limited, right. Land is very costly source today, so we cannot increase the land, but within the same land we need to increase the output. So using the genetic engineering, we can increase the productivity and also improving the nutritional security, okay. Not just eating food, because when we eat only rice or when we eat only roti, it cannot give you the required nutrients, right. We need to have a balanced diet. That is, nutritional security is very, very important, okay. Especially it will help us to reduce the malnutrition whatever that is there in the country, okay. For example, if you see, okay, improving the nutritional security, address malnutrition. Example I have given here, golden rice, because golden rice is nothing but we are making this beta carotene whatever that is there in this golden rice, okay. So that is very helpful for preventing some eye related disorders or issues, right. So apart from that, where it is also helpful, improving the input efficiency, whatever the inputs we are going to give, so these plants can use those inputs in an efficient manner. So once we are using these inputs in an efficient manner, can I say a kind of sustainable agriculture will be there, because less chemical inputs will be used, okay. So if you see here, it also reduces the dependency on chemical inputs, aligning with the sustainable agricultural goals, okay. Apart from that, it also ensures food security for the growing population, because when the food production is keep on increasing, then we can provide food to the growing population, so there will be food security. So food security will be there, nutritional security will be there, so that we can have a healthy growing population in the country, so that it will help us in the economically also, because it will increase the productive, okay, population. That is, we can reap the demographic dividend. Is it clear? So these are some of the things, but what are the challenges with respect to this one? Because we know genetic modification, okay. Best example we have seen BT cotton, right. Its productivity has been increased, but what are the concerns that are there, okay. So however, the use of genetically modified crops remains a subject of debate due to following reasons. What are those? Biosafety concerns on health of humans and animals. For example, when we see, okay, some studies are there where they are comparing with genetically modified food, whatever they are intaking, and their health condition. So in those cases, they have seen that there is a clear-cut correlation between kidney disorders, Alzheimer's, okay, a lot of other diabetes, all these diseases are connected to this genetically modified crops. So there is a health concerns are there. Apart from that, ecological or environmental concerns. For example, initially our Indian farmers, they used to cultivate different strains of cotton, but once the BT cotton has been introduced, okay, they are starting cultivating only BT cotton. So now if you see in India, majority of the cotton whatever that is grown is BT cotton. Means, can I say it is increasing towards monoculture, okay. Yes, so because of that one, the wild varieties whatever that are there, they are getting disappeared. It's not just that one, okay. Even the gene transfer, unintended gene transfer is taking place in the wild, and we don't know what is the future consequence of that unintended gene transfer that is taking place in the wild, okay. So that is why we have some environmental concerns are there. Apart from that, socio-economic concerns are also there, because these genes whatever that are there, this modification is not done by the normal farmer, they are done at the industrial level. So big industries whoever are doing this genetic modification, they are selling these seeds at high cost, okay. So it is nothing but having some economical issue with respect to the farmers. Apart from that, there are cases of proven inefficiency. For example, this pink bollworm whatever that is there, okay, that has started developing resistance against this BT cotton, okay. So once there is, means that the intention of making BT cotton is pest resistant, but now the pest whatever that is there, it is started developing resistance, so there is no effectiveness, right. So this is also one of the major concerns. Is it clear? So what measures we can take is robust regulatory mechanism has to be there, okay, informed public debate has to be there, and whatever the field trials are there, they has to be conducted in a transparent and efficient manner. So when we do all these things, then we can have, whether we can see in future whether we can use these things for consumption products or also not that, okay, because right now majorly we are using BT cotton, okay, and field trials are there for GM mustard, all these things, okay, but we need to do more research, especially with respect to the concerns what we have discussed, so that they can be introduced in the country or not, we will see in the future. Is it clear? So let's go to the next question. In the context of increasing focus on lifestyle diseases and nutritional awareness in public health policy, explain the process of fat digestion. They are asking about the process of fat digestion in the human body and where does this process occurs and what is the significance for overall metabolic health. So they are asking something about fat digestion and they are asking where it is occurring and also its significance on the what is called the metabolic health of the persons. Is it right? So let's start. So fat digestion is very vital, right? For example, whatever the food we consume, okay, whatever the fat that is there in that food we consume, our body will break down and make it as a simple, okay, molecules, and these are absorbed by the body and which will be used for different purposes like energy or cell repair mechanism or hormonal related things, everything it will be used, right? So we'll see. Fat digestion is a vital process through which the human body breaks down the fats consumed in the food into a simpler forms that can be absorbed and used for energy, growth, cell repair, hormone production and cellular function. Okay, so this is the normal fat digestion process that is generally taking place, and we'll see where it is going to take place. But see, whenever we start taking food, initially we'll chew, right? So this fat digestion, whatever that is there, it will start from the mouth, okay, and it will be completely done at the small intestine level. So we'll see the step by step where it is going to take place. So where and how the fat digestion is occurring. So first it will start with mouth and stomach, okay. So there are certain enzymes in the mouth and stomach, okay. So for example, gastric lipase is there, okay. So in the stomach, that will try to break down, means they will try to break down partially this whatever the fat that we have consumed, right? Once it enters into the small intestine, and majority of our fat digestion will take place in the small intestine, especially, okay, the duodenum of the small intestine, where it will try to digest as a major portion, right? So in this, what it is happening is this partially digested or breakdown particles are there, right? They have been further broken down into smaller ones, okay. So once these digested things that entered into this small intestine, the bile will be released by the liver, okay. So this bile will further break down this one, okay. So once it enters into the small intestine, liver will release the bile and bile will act on this one and it will further broke down into smaller one, and after that the pancreatic lipase, it is also an enzyme that will be released, so that this pancreatic lipase will act on the smaller portion of the fat molecules, and then it will convert that one into simple molecules like okay, fatty acids, all these things, okay. So these are the functions that are taking place. Once they are converted into simple molecules like fatty acids, okay, all these things, then it will be absorbed in the blood, okay. Whatever the intestinal lining is there, right, that intestinal lining will try to absorb that one and makes it to flow into the bloodstream, okay. Once it flows into the bloodstream, it will be supplied to different body organs, right. So this is the process. It will start from mouth and stomach, small intestine, bile will be released and broken down that one, and pancreatic lipase, it will convert into simpler one, okay, and then it will be absorbed in the body. Is it clear? So what is the significance for metabolic health? Okay, so it ensures proper absorption of the fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E and K. Apart from that, it supports hormonal balance and energy production, and also it prevents fat accumulation, okay, because more and more fat accumulates in our body, then it will lead to some of the diseases like cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes, all these things we are going to get, right? So it prevents fat accumulation that may lead to obesity, okay, cardiovascular diseases and type 2 diabetes. All these things are going to take place. So all these things can be prevented, right? So for example, when even the government of India is also emphasizing on the programs like Poshan Abhiyan, okay, Eat Right India program, where they are focusing on balanced diet, and in that balanced diet they are also talking about good fat, whatever that is there, because whatever the fat we are taking, if that fat is not digested properly, or if you take excess fat, okay, then it will lead to some of the metabolic disorders in the body, okay. So these metabolic disorders will lead to some of the non-communicable diseases like what we have seen, obesity, all these things, okay, cardiovascular disease, all these things. So it will increase the healthcare burden on the economy, right? So if we know the major process or function how the fat is digested in the body, so people can take informed decisions on what food we have to take, which is good for health, so that it can reduce burden on the economy, and it is also good for individuals' health also. Is it clear? So let's go to the next question. In the context of ongoing national efforts to combat nutritional anemia, such as the Anemia Mukt Bharat initiative, discuss the consequences. Okay, what they are asking, discuss the consequences of hemoglobin deficiency in the human body. What are its broader implications for public health and productivity in the country? Okay, so they are asking something about nutritional anemia. So first we will see hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? Okay, so after that we will see the new anemia, all these things, then go into the further topic. For example, hemoglobin is nothing but, see, if you see, this is the structure of hemoglobin, which is having different chains. Alpha chains and beta chains will be there, and a heme group will be there. Within that we have iron. Okay, so and this hemoglobin is the major one which is responsible for the transportation of oxygen, right? So let's see the definition of this one. Hemoglobin is an iron containing protein which we have seen in red blood cells, responsible for transportation of oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. Okay, it is the one which is helping us in transporting the oxygen from lungs to rest of the body. If this hemoglobin is less, or RBC is less in our body, then what is happening is the capacity of the blood to transport oxygen will be reduced. Okay, this condition is nothing but called as anemia. Okay, so when these is less, then it will lead to what is called as anemia. So what are the consequences of hemoglobin deficiency in the human body? What will happen when our blood is not transporting the required oxygen to different organs? Then the metabolic activity will be slowed down. Once metabolic activity is slowing down, means we will feel like lethargic or weak, or stamina will be reduced. All these things we can see. There are other consequences also. Let's see one by one. So what is this one? First, fatigue and weakness. Okay, because there is no proper transportation, so there is no proper breakdown, so the person will feel like weak, okay, or less stamina, all these things, so he cannot work properly, so his efficiency will be reduced. Apart from that, impaired cognitive development, especially in the children's, okay, so they cannot focus or they cannot concentrate on things. Once they are not focusing and concentrating on these things and they cannot study properly, then their educational outcomes will be reduced. And we know the children are the future persons, right? So our demographic dividend will also be little bit weakened during this one. So, and apart from that, it is also having an impact on maternal and child healthcare. Okay, so how it is having an impact is, see, any pregnant woman, when they are anemic, okay, the chances of preterm births are very high, and also whoever the babies are delivering, their baby weights will also be very, very less, and in majority of the cases, maternal and infant mortality rate is also occurring because of anemia. Okay, so these are the maternal and child health risks are there, and increased disease susceptibility. This is because the immunity of the person will be lowered. Once the immunity of the person is lowered, means then they will be impacted by the secondary infections. Because of that one, the person will be susceptible to a lot of other diseases, and some other impacts, like he will feel like breathlessness because less oxygen supply is there, so he has to take more breaths. Apart from that, heart function is also a little bit irregular. Okay, all these impacts will be there because of less hemoglobin in the body. So what are the implications for the public health and productivity of the country? So for example, straining the healthcare system, because India is having one of the high burden of anemia in the world. Okay, for example, if you see, according to the National Family Health Survey, okay, more than 57% of the women and 67% of the children under 5 are anemic. Okay, so once these people, this much amount of people are, or number of people are anemic, means you can imagine how much economic resources we have to invest on these people, right? So it is bringing a kind of strain on healthcare system. Apart from that, reduced workforce efficiency or labor productivity, because earlier we have seen, right, the stamina of the person is reducing. Once the stamina is reducing, means they cannot work properly, right? So efficiency will be reduced. So because of that one, economic output will be reduced, and also lowers education outcomes of the children. So we know, right, children are the future generation for us. If their outcomes are not good, then we can see, means right now education outcomes are not good, means in future their productivity as a contributor to the economy is very less. And also economic burden in the sense, see, on one side we need to invest our more money into this healthcare system, right? So more money is going here. Apart from that, as people are not in a position to work efficiently, the economic resources are also having a strain. So it is having a dual negative role on economy. Is it clear? So for example, Government of India, if you see, okay, has launched a program, okay, so which is nothing but Anemia Mukt Bharat initiative. Okay, so under this Anemia Mukt Bharat initiative, there is a program called 6x6x6 strategy, where they are targeting 6 beneficiaries are there. Okay, who are those beneficiaries? Children of 6 to 59 months, okay, or children of 5 to 9 years age, adolescent girls and boys of 10 to 19 years, women of reproductive age between 20 to 24 years, pregnant women, lactating mothers. These are all the 6 beneficiaries which are targeted under this program. Apart from that, how they are targeting? Through 6 interventions, okay, and also through 6 institutional mechanisms through which they are targeting, and this is nothing but 6x6x6 strategy. So for example, if you see 6 interventions, okay, they are giving some iron and folic acid supplements, okay, and also deworming things they are doing, all these things, okay, they are doing, okay, and they are having interministerial coordination is there, National Anemia Mukt Bharat unit, all these things, okay. So these are the institutional mechanism through which they are trying to do some intervention so that we can reduce the anemia burden in the country. So we need to see anemia not just, okay, as a individual health, okay, we have to see this one as a developmental issue also, because it is directly having an impact on the economic productivity of the country. So we need to see as a both fronts so that it will be helpful for us in the long term. Okay, so let's go to the, okay, some challenges are also there, okay, because even though all these interventions are there, okay, so what are the challenges? Poor awareness is there, dietary habits are not proper, or poverty is there, and cultural taboos often hinders the implementation of whatever the programs, whatever that are there is at the national level. So we need to bring more and more awareness, okay, and discuss about what are the benefits of this one and what are the consequences if we are having hemoglobin or whatever the deficiencies are there, so that we can get the proper output from these interventions. Okay, so let's go to the next question. In the light of increasing incidence of the electrical fires in the urban infrastructure and residential buildings, explain the phenomena of electric short circuit. Okay, what are its common causes and how can such hazards be prevented through better electrical safety practices? So they're asking something about electrical short circuits and what are the common causes they are asking, common causes, and how can such hazards be prevented. Okay, so first we'll see what is this electric short circuit, then we'll address the other subparts what they have asked in the question. So an electric short circuit occurs when there is an unintended, what is there? There is an unintended low resistance connection between 2 points. Low resistance connection between 2 points in an electric circuit, that is nothing but typically between the live wire and the neutral or the ground wire. Okay, so when there is unintended, okay, low resistance connection between these 2 points, okay, what is happening is during this point of time there is a huge surge of flow of electricity. So when there is huge surge of flow of electricity, what is happening is the temperature will increase, and once the temperature is increasing, then there might be having chance of sparks, okay, fire accidents, all these things can be there. So ultimately we know what is happening, entire building will be burnt, or a lot of people who are stuck in the building or industry or any other complexes, they will have damage. Okay, we have seen similar question, right? So that's why I'm going a little bit fast. So what are the common causes, okay, of this short circuit? So damaged insulation, okay, whatever the insulation things that are there, if they are getting damaged, then the chances of short circuits are there. Poor maintenance, we are not maintaining properly, and worn out infrastructure. Any old building is there, okay, whatever the wiring they have done, if that wiring is worn out, then the chances of short circuits will be there. And faulty wiring practices, okay, apart from that, overloaded circuits. In the same circuit, if they are extracting more and more current, that single phase will become very, very hot, and the chances of fire accidents can be very, very high. And also poor quality of equipments, for example, whatever the switches are there, boards, whatever that are there, if they are very poor quality, then the chances of this short circuit will be very, very high. And moisture exposure, especially when they are exposure to any water or something, then the chances of short circuit will be there. And also rodents, sometimes they will chew the wires, everything, right? So during such cases also the chance of this short circuit will be there. So the growing number of electrical fires in Indian cities, including the hospitals, factories and high-rise apartments, highlights the urgency to understand the phenomena of this short circuit and what are the reasons of this one, so we can avoid these things, so that we can save a lot of life and property, right? So what are the preventing short circuits require a multi-pronged approach. See, whatever the negatives are there, right? So if you can write opposite of this one, so our answer will be sufficient. For example, if you see use of quality wiring and certified appliances complying with the safety standards, because we have seen here faulty wiring, okay, or poor maintenance and also worn out infrastructure and also poor quality equipment. So if these poor quality equipments are avoided, then it can be saved, right? So good quality. Apart from that, installation of miniature circuit breakers, that is MCBs, or residual current devices which automatically disconnect the power. This also I have discussed when I discussed about the other question, right? So disconnect the power in case of abnormal flow. Apart from that, regular inspection and maintenance of wiring, especially in commercial and public buildings, promoting awareness and training on electrical safety, especially among the technicians and also for the residents also, to do small things, okay? And also strict enforcement of building safety codes, okay? Building safety codes and integration of smart monitoring systems for early fault detection. So if we can do all these things, then we can almost prevent any damages that are going to occur, okay? So here also we have to focus very carefully, otherwise, okay, these small earths, whatever the circuit, whatever electric shocks we are going to get because of these things, okay, they are going to have impact on health and also they are going to damage the infrastructure also, okay? So these small changes if we can make, then these electrical hazards can be prevented and it can help to secure the life and also property. Is it clear? So we'll go to the next question. Discuss the role of science and technology in transforming India's agriculture. How can innovation in areas such as biotechnology, they have mentioned about biotechnology, precision farming and climate smart practices contribute to the sustainable agricultural growth within the country, okay? So they have mentioned particularly these things and how science is transformed India's agriculture also they have asked, okay? So let's see, science and technology has played a transformative role, okay, in shaping modern agriculture, particularly in the countries like India where most of the people who are dependent on the agriculture, right? So where farming sustains a significant portion of the population. So the integration of scientific principles into the agriculture has not only improved the productivity but also enhanced the resilience, sustainability and profitability, and this can be seen as a best example in case of Green Revolution, which marked the first major applications of science in Indian agriculture, where we have seen in Green Revolution, right? We have seen the increase in the productivity of wheat and rice in the country, right? So that we have done through science intervention. After that, the Green Revolution, whatever that has happened, we have increased the scope of that one, okay? We have started increasing the genetic modification, all these things, right? Earlier also we have seen the same question, similar question of this model, okay? Now we'll see they have directly asked about some particular fields, right? So key areas where innovation contributes to sustainable agriculture growth. So first is biotechnology, okay? So we have seen earlier, right, biotechnology, how it is helping, okay? So pest resistance and drought tolerant crops, reducing dependency on pesticides and improving the yields in the water scarce region. This already we have seen, right? So apart from that, precision farming is nothing but where we are using the technology in this case, okay? For example, we'll use drones, okay? We'll use whatever the satellite images are there, okay? We'll try to use sensors, okay? All these things will be used, and so that they will give the alerts to the farmer when the amount of water or watering when has to be done and how much quantity of watering has to be done, okay? How much fertilizer has to be used and which type of fertilizer has to be used. All these things can be used so that the efficiency of inputs will be increased and also wastage of inputs can be reduced and the productivity will be increased, okay? Let's see. Precision farming, which uses satellite data, sensors and AI-based tools, allow farmers to monitor soil health, apply inputs optimally and reduce waste. It enables data-driven decisions for better crop planning and resource management, okay? So apart from that, climate smart agriculture, and see, majorly climate smart agriculture focuses on sustainable agriculture, okay? So for example, if you see, it focuses on sustainable agriculture and the techniques like zero tillage, integrated pest management and water efficient practices like drip irrigation. Drip irrigation reduces emission and conserves natural resources, thus adapting to climate variability. Apart from that, some digital platforms and mobile applications are also there where they will give the instant information, news, okay? What are the market prices are there, or they can get advices, okay? All these things through this digital platforms and mobile apps. For example, also delivers weather forecast, market prices and expert advice, empowering the farmers with timely information and also mechanization. Affordable machines for planting, harvesting and post-harvest process reduce the labor dependency and improves the output. Okay, so see, these are all are transforming India's agriculture from the traditional one to the modern one, right? But adapting to these things is more important, right? For that we need to educate the farmers, okay? Not just education, we need to have a proper policy framework also, okay? And also whatever the equipments or whatever the things we have discussed, they should also get at a cheaper prices, right? So then only farmers can afford those things, right? So once if these things are provided, and especially in the light of climate change, okay, resource scarcity, whatever that are happening, okay, and increasing population of the country, okay, so these modern or new tools and techniques can help us provide food security to the growing population in the country, okay, and also it will have less impact on the environment also, okay, so we can have sustainable agriculture and also we can save the ecology and environment also. Is it clear? So let's go to the last question. So microorganisms are both protectors and potential threats to the human health. Examine this paradox with reference to their role in disease prevention, how they are playing a role in disease prevention and rise of antibiotic resistance. So first we'll see what are these microorganisms and what is their dual role in our human body. So microorganisms, even though we know very, very small things, right? Okay, so some of the microorganisms, means these microorganisms plays a dual role. So means some microorganisms will have a positive impact on our body and some will have a negative impact, okay? Positive impact, like they will try to help in digestion of the food or prevent some diseases sort of thing, and other will have a negative impact, like they will have a infections to our body, all these things, okay? Let's see what we have written. So microorganisms, though invisible to the naked eye, plays a significant dual role, okay, in the human health. While many microbes are essential for maintaining bodily functions, okay, and prevent diseases, okay, some are helping in bodily functions and preventing some diseases, other can cause infections and life-threatening illness. So this paradox has become increasingly relevant in the public health. Is it clear? So first we'll see how they are benefiting the humans and what are the impacts of, especially because of antibiotics, we'll see, okay? So microorganisms such as gut flora, okay? So whatever the gut related microorganisms that are there inside the gut, so they are having some benefits for us. For example, they help in digestion, okay, and they also helps in vitamin synthesis like B12, K, and also helps in immune modulation and protecting against pathogenic invasions and inhibits harmful organisms, and also they train the immune system to distinguish between friend from foe, and also they helps in maintaining mucosal integrity. So these are some of the benefits that are happening because of this gut flora, whatever that is there in our body, okay? So these are some of the benefits. But the challenges of rise of antibiotic resistance, okay, what are the antibiotics that are causing negative impacts? See, for example, these antibiotics, whatever that are there, because of misuse and overuse of these antibiotics, okay, so some of the microorganisms are becoming resistant, and these resistant microorganisms are having negative impact on the body. So let's see. The overuse and misuse of antibiotics in the human agriculture and livestock has accelerated emergence of antibiotic resistant strains such as XDR, TB and superbugs, etc. Even the World Health Organization also mentioned about antimicrobial resistance as one of the major health hazard in the right now, and it is going to become more enhanced in the future, okay? So we have to be very, very careful, but what it is doing is the resistant pathogens render the conventional treatment ineffective. Means whatever the normal treatment we are going to take, okay, because of the presence of this one, these treatments are becoming ineffective, so we need to give another treatment. So because of that one, the healthcare will become more burden and also more cost also, okay? So let's see, increasing mortality will be there, okay, because no proper treatment is occurring, and also healthcare cost increases and the risk of pandemic also increases because of this antibiotic resistance sort of thing, okay? For example, if you see antibiotic resistance on human health, they are having different consequences, on wildlife they are having different consequences, and also on the environment also they are having different consequences, okay? So this paradox has become particularly alarming when the beneficial microbes are also affected by indiscriminate antibiotic use, weakening host immunity and enabling opportunistic infections. Additionally, resistant genes can transfer across the species via plasmids, broadening the threat. It is nothing but what they are saying is positive or good bacteria or good microbes, whatever that are there. Okay, so these antibiotic resistant microbes are attacking this one and rendering this becomes ineffective. Once they are becoming more ineffective means their dominance will be there, that is going to have a more negative impact on the health. So what we can do is we need to minimize, or we have to use these antibiotics in an efficient way. Okay, no overuse, misuse should not be done. Okay, apart from that, more and more research has to be done on these antibiotics, all these things, and also international collaboration has to be done. Okay, so and also we need to maintain hygiene at our personal level so that these infections, everything will be reduced, and in the process we can protect the good microbes whatever that are there, and we can have a positive impact of those things. Otherwise, if the good microorganisms are suppressed because of some or other reasons, then it will have a negative impact on the health, and this negative impact on the health at the individual level not only impacts the individual but also the country, as it will have a burden on economy and also healthcare system and productivity, and ultimately national productivity will be reduced in the country. Is it clear? So we have completed all the 10 questions. Okay, I hope you have got a decent understanding of this one. So if any one of you have any further questions or doubts regarding this one, so you can contact directly to the institute, or you can contact through teacher support system, where we can discuss whatever the questions or doubts you have in detail. Okay, so we'll meet in the next session. I hope you have got a decent understanding, and all the very best for your further exams. Okay, have a great day. Thank you.